everybody. I'm Jeff Finkel, CEO of the Arcview Group, and welcome to our Arcview Access Workshop series, where today we'll learn about Alleaves software, probably one of the most comprehensive seed-to-sale software platforms available for cannabis operators. And I think as you'll soon see from this really good demo, that Alleaves provides solutions for cultivation, processing, transportation, retail experience, delivery, and payment. No more dealing with ancillary spreadsheets to make up for the infrastructure shortcomings. So pay attention to this one. All right, before we begin the formal program, let me introduce you, or reintroduce you as the case may be, to the Arcview Group, which has evolved quite a bit over the last few years, as had the industry and many of you, our viewers. The Arcview Group is a financial services firm that operates 4 subsidiaries and very soon a 5th. The first is Arcview Capital, our FINRA registered broker-dealer, which provides investment banking services and capital raises, and has recently produced a crowdfunding site, which is a great way to raise capital from individuals, by the way. Arcview Ventures is our principal investing group and operator of the Arcview Collective Fund, a member-managed venture capital fund with 78 active limited partner members who make all the decisions on how the fund runs and in which companies the fund invests. Arcview Management Consulting, which is our consulting group offering cannabis license pursuit and a variety of growth management services. Arcview Events and Experiences, our event management group and operator of our Women's Inclusion Network, and the producer of our digital content, including this program, and also the producer of our in-person events. And as I'm sure you know, because we haven't been exactly quiet about it, that we'll be hosting what I think is our 51st Arcview Investor Forum this October 19th to the 21st, right here in New York City. We hope to see you all there. It is going to be fantastic. So please go to our website and register or learn more. And finally, we're just beginning to operationalize Arcview Marketing Services, which is offering a full range of services to help you with your marketing and branding and lead gen needs. Now, none of these programs would be possible without the support of our strategic alliance partners, all cannabis professionals and all great resources for our sector. They include Alpha Root for insurance, D&O policies, general product liability. They're great, we use them. Ice Miller Group, providing legal and regulatory support for operators. Waterton Partners, North Star Financial, and Green Growth CPA, providing financial operations management, all the way from bookkeeping to fractional CFO services, and in some cases, even tax prep. PayQuick, enabling banks to be in the cannabis business and operators to get the banking services they need to grow and scale. Green Tank Technologies, a provider of vape hardware, Work for HR and payroll management services. Hoodie Analytics, the provider of daily brand and retail intelligence. And of course, Alleaves, the subject of today's program. So with that, let's begin the workshop. We're going to start with Charles Bailey, who's going to walk us through the first part, sort of the back of the house of operations. And then Amy Holdener, who's going to take over and show us the retail experience. Thank you all in advance, and take it away, Charles.
Thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Arcview. My name is Charles Bailey. I work for Añejo Logistics. We're a consulting company in South Florida. We work all over the United States. Before starting the consulting company, I worked at a vertical operation in Florida. I was using other seed-to-sale systems before I approached Alleaves, and Alleaves solved a lot of my problems. So I was basically only using my seed-to-sale system to check a compliance box for me. So I would go in, I would do all of the work. I would go into my seed-to-sale system and said, hey, I've done all this work. So one of the main things that I was looking for that Alleaves solved for me was real-time chain of custody. So being able to go into my system, say, hey, I'm working on something, and working on it, capturing time within my seed-to-sale. I was also basically managing the whole company on spreadsheets like all of us do, right? I had ancillary spreadsheets from everything from managing my non-cannabis inventory, so my consumables and my durables. I had other spreadsheets to manage my COGS. I had another spreadsheet to manage my employee KPIs, and then my production plan and my harvest tracker and all of that kind of stuff. it was all outside of my point of sale. So being able to leverage my seed to sale system to become a tool to help grow the business was something that was really important to me and something that Alleaves solved for me. So I'm gonna just give a demo of some examples of how I use the system in our business and our businesses, and the advantages that it's shown to me. So the first part is within cultivation. Most seed to sale systems do this piece pretty similarly. Alleaves has a couple of add-ins that were really good for me and helped me just stay a little bit more organized, but also took away one of the spreadsheets that I was talking about. So when I go in and build my rooms within cultivation, the system data up here, this is kind of where the basis of everything is built for you. So when I go into a new area and I can build these out, I build out my rooms. So we have 8 flower rooms and 2 bedrooms. The bedrooms each, one half of them flips every week. So being able to have mother-daughter relationships within rooms speeds things up for me greatly. And then also when we go into rooms and you build these, there's rows and columns. Each of these is an emitter zone within my indoor. And then my canopy square foot helps me with all of my reporting. So grams per square foot in my canopy, and then the products that I get out of those grams are my most important KPIs for my garden. And not having human input there and having my seed to sale system manage that for me was something that was really important. So, having front to back, seed to sale reporting is something that the system does really well. So when I click into one of the rooms, you'll see I have 2 views here. So this list view is probably the most, gives you the most information. You have just quick windows over here of the strains that are in the room. And then information of each of the plants up here. Your grid view gives you an idea of where each of one of your plants are within the room. So this was really valuable for me in Florida because we were a publicly traded company. So we valued all of our biological assets, and my auditors and regulators required me to have strict tracking of where the plants are. So they would be able to pull up my seed to sale system and say, show me where, plant 2012 33 is. And I would be able to guide them to zone L2. The grid view is more just a visual to kind of show you where things are. You can also drag and drop these around. But that was something for me that was important. It sped up my audits when my auditors were doing sheet to floors and floors to sheets. They were able to quickly go through my biological assets. Having 20,000 plants on your farm can be pretty intimidating when you go to count that inventory and value that inventory. So just things to make it easier there were things that were important to me. Within each of the strains, the system is baked in time and phase in each strain. So this helps out with my cost accounting. So like I said, we valued all of our biological assets. So the computer knowing that, or the system knowing that we're expecting the plant's flower cycle to end after 58 days, but it's only 34 days through its flower cycle, it can calculate a cost for you to say, all right, this plant is 66% done with its flower time, therefore the value is this. And this also helps us with yield forecasting and predictive analytics. So just knowing how long a plant is going to be alive and knowing how long it has been alive, we can then pull reports to be able to say, this is when you can expect such and such flower. Going back to the cultivation module, all of your calls to action are over here, and they're really simple and intuitive to use. Plants can be harvested, destroyed, and moved, all from these screens. If any of your plants are destroyed, they go into this. They're held there for however long you want them to. I have the system set up to hold them for 45 days. That's per my regulatory compliance, but you can have them in there for however long you want. And then the transfer tabs, all of these plants can be transferred between facilities or from your cultivation site to your dispensary if your business is allowed to sell clones and things like that. All of your metric tags will carry over with that, and everything compliant will go with that plant. I'm not a metric state in Florida, so I'm not as familiar with those integrations as some of the other people that I know use this system in metric states. So I'll give you that caveat. Within the garden, when you go to harvest your plants, we have all of the harvest outputs here. So these harvest outputs are customizable on the back end of your system within system data. The outputs that I got from my harvest are wet bud, fresh frozen, and waste. If your state requires you to keep track of sugar leaves or fan leaves or stems or root balls, all of that can be captured within this harvest output tab. But these are just what's required from me. One other thing that I really like is, at this point, the plants go into your inventory as wet bud. So with other seed to sale systems that I've used, the plants, even though they're in dry, they're still considered plants in a drying phase. But that's not correct, especially the way that we harvested in Florida. They're no longer plants. So them going into the inventory at that point was something that made my life easier as an operator. So after harvest, everything then takes place in the process module. One other thing that I really like about Alleaves is, that I should have mentioned first, each of these modules up here, whereas they do work best when they're together, they can all work as a standalone. So if you're only a cultivator, you only have to use grow. If you're just manufacturing, you can just use process. There's clients that I know of that are just using this to manage their wholesale accounts and manage the transfer of their inventory. And then obviously it's a point of sale as well that one of my colleagues will go over after I've walked us through these first 3 steps. So like I said, once it's harvested, it goes into the inventory. And then we start on processes. All of these processes are built by the client. So I've built all of these to reflect my business. And I really like that the system gives you the leniency and kind of lets you build it however complex or however broad you want. So different people are at different stages of their business. Some people just want to use this to, kind of gather a lot of data and dump it into the system. Other people want to be really detailed with their tracking and really ingrain this into their operation. That's how I prefer to use the system, is using this side by side with my operators. And you'll see that a little bit as I go through this. So one of the more simple processes is just dry, right? So I said that the plants get harvested and they go into my inventory as wet bud. So now they have to go through a process to get converted into dried bud. So my inputs are wet bud. I start a session and it starts the timer for me, and my outputs of this are dried bud and waste. Super straightforward. One thing that I like is it will capture the number of staff that you've used to do this, and then the labor hours that they use for that. So you can use this 2 different ways. You can either punch it in manually here, or like I said, if you use this to side by side with your operators, when you start and finish sessions, it will actually timestamp it for you, so you know how long this has been worked on. So there's a couple of different ways within the system that you can use it to help manage your employee KPIs, but also get an idea of your costs. And I'll go into that in a little bit as I get into inventory and how we build items within the system. A little bit more complex process is hand trim. This is a process that I was keeping track of manually. It is something that was, as one of my cup of coffee reports. It's something I looked at every day. It was my key KPI for my trim team, but also for my garden, to be able to trend what my garden was giving me more specifically on the category level. So dried unprocessed bud is your inputs, and then my outputs, this should actually be Keith. My outputs are hand-trimmed bud smalls, bigs and mediums, shake, waste, and keef. So those are just things that I capture here. And like I said, you can start as many sessions as you want to. So if you have 5 trimmers working, you can start a session for each of them and capture the time that they've spent processing that batch. Or you can just simply start one process and say, hey, I've got 15 trimmers working on this, and they worked on it all day, so I've got 120 hours in here. However you want to build it out. And all of these processes all link back to the garden as well. So reporting is frontwards and backwards. Alleaves uses Microsoft Power BI as their reporting platform. So basically, if it goes into the system as a data point, it can be captured at some point within the process. Looking at another process, edibles is one of my more complicated processes as far as inputs go. As I built out all of these items, one thing that I really like about the system is the inputs they're managed inside of my seed to sale. So all of these inputs have a cost associated with them, and they also have low quantity thresholds associated with them. So the system degrading my inventory as I use it, but also giving me call outs when I'm low on consumables. Just it's one less thing to think about as an operator. We have enough to think about. You can also add attributes to this page. So I use this just as my employees go in, and as they create the recipe, they punch in each of these data points, just to remember. But also the system, I don't have it built in here. They've offered it, but there can be links to SOPs. There can be videos of the SOPs and things like that. So the process module is really built really robustly. And like I said, because all of these have costs associated with them, I know what each of these costs me, including my cannabis products, my distillate. I can get a better idea of real-time COGS per batch. So as I go into my inventory, I'll show you some of that as we go. I can also use it let's look at pre-rolls. So just another example of it managing my non-cannabis inventory. As I go in and I built this bomb for a pre-roll, and you'll see that here in a second, every item that you produce can have a bill of materials with it. So the system's saying, hey, what do you expect to use? What goes into using this, making this product rather? So when I went and built this bomb, which I'll show you in a second, I said, hey, I'm using 1 doob tube, 1 pre-roll cone, and then half a gram of any of these cannabis items. And then it'll also give you a call out. So I'm going to make 150 units. So it's expecting me to use 150 of each of these items. So just good reminders for your team that can help speed up your processes. So I'll go into an item build really quick just to show you like the pre-rolls, for example. I'll show you the bomb. So every item, when you say you're going to create a new item, this is the page that it looks like. I'll just kind of go through each field before we get to the bomb. The name, category, brand, vendor. Remember, because it's BI-based, each of these now becomes a data field, so you can run reporting based on if you just want to see, whatever brand cones you use, or if you're a wholesaler or you're a retailer rather, and you take in wholesale, you can start to get a better idea of and filter things by vendor and by brand, as well as category like everybody else uses. You can mark things as global items or not global. This is useful for me in Florida specifically because I use the system vertically. So when I would ship things out from manufacturing, I could quickly make adjustments at my home base, and it would, if it's marked as a global item, it would affect it across my enterprise, just speeding up my processes, but also minimizing my mistakes that might happen, misnaming items, forgetting to pick things up, things like that. Within the storage, you can have stored and receiving units of measure. This is helpful if you pack out. So for instance, you might have cartons of pre-rolls which contain boxes which contain pre-rolls. So your stored unit of measure would be a carton, but your stored unit of measure would be a box, but your received unit of measure would be a carton. So you break down a big box and it becomes a small box. It can just help you streamline your inventory just a little bit. Low quantity threshold, which I covered earlier. This will give you call outs when you get to that point within your inventory. Expiration date, if your state requires expiration dates for cannabis goods and certainly edibles, it will automatically do that for you, and you just plug in the shelf life. If the item is marked cannabis, you'll want to see a usable weight unit of measure. You can attach a strain to it if you want to. Strain is also an inherited trait because you're going to make pre-rolls with bulk flower. Hey, I've made this pre-roll with ChemD, therefore it's going to be a ChemD pre-roll. But some people that aren't processing their own products might just need to make ChemD pre-rolls, and the system facilitates that as well. Within your products, so this is a part that I really like. So each of these is an attribute. So I've just built a pre-roll here, and one of my variants is size. So not only can I assign different costs in here, but it just gives me one touch point to go in and manipulate all of my pre-roll inventory. And it also facilitates your costs. So wholesale costs, this is what it costs me in operations to make this. Retail is out, when it goes to my dispensary, is out for sale. Out the door pricing, I don't use in my state, but I know other clients that use Alleaves, specifically in California, where you have state tax, county tax, excise tax, but they don't want to tell someone a pre-roll is $10 when really it's going to cost them $20. They just use out the door pricing, and all the taxes applied on the back end. My retail colleague will walk you through all of the pricing and things like that later on in the webinar. And then finally, the BOM. So each item that you have, if it's something that's manufactured, you can create a BOM for it. So this just means what's your material list that goes into making this product. You can group these. So I'm expecting one unit from this group with groups that have more than one item that could go into it. For example, I could make my pre-rolls out of bigs or smalls, or shake or anything like that. It's saying, hey, I'm looking for a 0.5 gram of anything within this group. So I find that really handy as well. And then finally, the inventory stream, you can use this to just manage this inventory, combine it, move it, adjust it, delete it from the system, as well as it just gives you a good glance of how much of this specific product is held within your operation. And then finally, that brings us to Move. Move is just transferring products in and out, as well as creating the manifests for you. So one of my pain points was the multiple touch points that I would have to use with my other seed to sale system to actually transfer a product out in the very specific order that I would have to do that in order to not break the system and have my inventory go away. So building a transfer is as simple as putting the recipient, whether it's an internal transfer, this is all that I use, or if it's an external transfer, for instance, you're a wholesaler, you can use this as your vendor and customer. And you can basically use this much like an invoice, whereas it creates a pick list for you and it creates a manifest for you. And I'll walk you through what those look like over here. When a transfer is made, you can update the status via this screen. This is handy just because I can build these out for a couple of days at a time. And then if it's not packed and verified, I know that my fulfillment team hasn't touched it yet. So it's just a good way to manage my fulfillment and my shipping and receiving department. Just being able to quickly look at this and see, make sure all of my orders are packed and ready for the next day and things like that. The manifest and the pick list both look very similar. This is built out for Florida compliance. If your state's different, the team will build you a compliant manifest, and all of this is automatically inputted for you, which is really nice. But maybe more importantly, is it also has the transfer waiting for me anyway, because I use this in retail as well as operations. It'll ship it out and have it waiting for my retail teams and my incoming transfers here. And then my pick list, this is just what my fulfillment personnel use. They'll print these out, they'll pick it, they'll check that it's been picked, and it goes with the order. So just a little bit more streamlined and easy call outs for them to have in front of them and be able to manage their orders day to day. So this is the point when I hand it off to retail after Alleaves move. And my retail colleague will walk you through a lot of the reporting, but I think it's important that just to show you one report that I use every single day in operations from the retail side, and that is this product level forecast. This is in my sandbox environment, so forgive me for the days remaining and things like that, but I use this at the beginning of my week as I'm building my production schedule. So it will tell me on-hand inventory, estimated days on hand, my low quantity threshold, my 90-day quantity need. So I can use this to help make decisions for me in operations and help manage my S&OP planning and that kind of thing. So the reporting structure in Alleaves is very robust because it's BI based. And with that, I will hand it over to retail. Thanks a lot for the time.
Okay, thank you, Charles. Appreciate that. I am going to try to take everybody through some of the highlights of the Alleaves cell, which is the area that really focuses on the retail experience. If everyone can see my screen okay, where I have gone is I'm starting in cell under order status, which is sort of like your centralized customer service zone. This is a view that can be customized based on the role of the user. If you could be sitting in a customer service central area, you don't have to be sitting in the dispensary to be utilizing this particular view. You might be sitting in the vault of a dispensary. You could be up at the front. But the idea here is that you can see in real time all orders that are coming into your location. And then you can set what this view is going to look like based on how you're going to be managing all of these orders. So what I've done for myself here is I am filtered, and I can see that by this little filter column, into all orders that are delivery and pickup for my store. So walk-in orders, I'm not monitoring, but those that are coming in through my e-commerce site, such as my weed maps, or maybe I'm connected to Jane or Dispense, these are all of those orders coming in real time. So with Alleaves, when you have a digital footprint and your menu is online, when those orders come in, they're coming in and they're immediately placing that inventory on hold in real time to help prevent that oversell. They're building the order into the POS in real time. I'm not having to go grab an order off the printer and then come over here into Alleaves and rebuild this order. It's already here waiting for me, and they're just going to start popping up in real time. And I can see the date and time of what's received on the left, and you'll just see more and more start coming in, and it blinks for you every time a new one comes in, which is great. And I could be sorting these in the order. So newest first as an example, or as I have it right now, oldest first. What this allows a customer service person to do is a couple of things. One, it might be your job to verify these orders as they're coming in, reschedule or confirm the scheduled chosen time for the delivery orders that's coming in. That might be simply working within your Alleaves delivery module to make sure they're optimized in their routing. It might be working with your on-fleet system. The choice is certainly yours, depending on how you've set up your operational flow. From this view in real time, I can mark these orders verified. I can mark them scheduled. I can be marking them packed and ready. My role might just be to get all of the orders marked verified and scheduled packed. So my job would be filtering this view to all the orders that need to be packed. And I can see the order in real time, and I can open that order, manipulate it, which I'll show you guys how to do here in just a second. And it also is going to be digitally creating that manifest that my driver's going to be needed. So no more pen and paper here when you're on Alleaves. So what you're doing here is I can see I've got order number 1065, which I could easily click and open order 1065. I can see now, hey, here's what this customer has ordered. I could check out their profile. I could check out the cart balance right here of what they purchased. Hey, all right, how many ounces do they have in that cart so far? What I love about this is when you do have omni-channel retail, you always are getting those calls or those emails from the customer saying, hey, I placed an order, but I saw you just dropped something additional. Can you please edit my order? Well, the good thing is the answer is yes, and it's very easy. I can be monitoring those orders from this screen. They can call, they can give me their name, they can give me their order number. I can quickly sort and find it and filter to grab that order. And I can say, absolutely. All right, Ms. Holdner, I've got your order in front of me. I do see it. What did you want to add to your order today? And I can quickly do a scan of the item or a search to see if it's in stock. If they get excited about the Berry OG pre-roll, maybe it's on special, I can quickly say, no problem, I've added that item to your order. What I love about this is this item's been added to the order, and in real time, it's also been added to the manifest. It's also been added to the pick list, which you can see down here. We have pick ticketing that prints out, goes straight back to the vault for my pickers, and they know in real time now that there are additional items on this order. They know the batch. They know where the batch is even located. I can see here which area in my building this particular batch is located. So that picker and packer has an easier job now. When you're in this view, you can also see a couple of things. If this customer is calling because they heard that there's a sale and that sale was before they placed their item, I can go right here and say, well, I do see you've got a discount on your order. I'm just going to click discounts and say, absolutely, you've got 15% off all cannabis products. It's set to auto apply. So any order that hadn't been paid for that contains the mango syrup automatically got that 15% off. So I can see here that they got that discount, which is a wonderful feature. It can be removed with the right permissions. I could view other discounts that maybe don't auto apply to see if there's anything else they might qualify for. So wonderful flexibility here built into the order. Another thing to show you, when you're looking at this customer service screen, not only can you come over here and claim the order, that lets everybody on your team know that you are working with this order so that other people who have a similar role can start on those that still need attention without having overlap or dual work. You can click to view a manifest. When you click that button, it's going to open the manifest that could be printed. But again, this manifest is state specific. It's built to the regulations of your state to have all the needed information, such as who you're delivering to, the items that are going to be going out with this order, and the delivery information. So once the drivers are assigned, the drivers will populate through here and so on. And then the app with the Alleaves Go captures the digital signature directly onto this manifest. So no more needing to print them out or copy and paste fields into a manifest. It's all done for you right here. Last feature I'll show you about this, although there are many more that we could go into, would be that if you have those customers who are calling, or let's just simply say a customer walks into the store. I've got order 1065 scheduled for delivery, right? But that's not till tomorrow. And this customer, Ms. Holdner, just showed up in the store saying, is there any way I could just pick this order up today? Well, the answer is yes. And I'll show you how easy that is. You can click to open that order, or if they're already at the front at the POS, pardon me, let me go to the right screen for you. If they're already at the POS, I could come here. I could open that order. They could show me their email of the receipt from when they placed that order. I could scan it, or I could just type that order in. I say, certainly, I see your order right here. Yes, it is scheduled for delivery. No problem. I'm going to flip this to an in-store pickup. This order has now immediately come off of the delivery manifests. It has remarked this order type as now being an in-store pickup. So it's removed from the to-do list of those in my vault who are working delivery orders. It's removed from the task operation for delivery drivers. And I can now go right ahead with my customer service of saying, do you want to add anything else to your order? Is there anything you want to change today? And it's a seamless, fluid customer service experience with the combination of that wonderful order status customer service hub that Alleaves provides, and then the ease of using the POS. Hopefully you're starting to see already some of the features of the POS itself as we've been going through. Some of the things I want to round back to, let's talk about discounts. When you're looking at an order, any discount built by your marketing team set to auto apply simply is applied to any items as you meet the criteria of that particular promotion. And they're put in a summary form down here for the bud tender so they can see in real time what discounts are coming their way. So this particular one, as an example, cannabis products are automatically going to place on a discount. If they choose to go ahead and remove that item, then you can see that discount was removed with it, and that happens automatically. All of our discount engine capabilities allow for things such as stacking capabilities. If you want to say this does apply to even when used in combination with others, then it's always going to go ahead and do that for your bud tenders automatically. They don't have to figure out the math. I could also have discount set to not stack, in which case, if there are two conflicting discounts for the items in the cart, the logic is going to know what's the best deal for the customer and apply that one. Adding items to a cart is going to be as simple as scanning the barcode that's on the item. So you can scan your package label. It'll go immediately to that item. If you have permissions to do manual add to cart, and that's one of the features of Alleaves, it's completely at the discretion of the client, then you can do searches. Maybe you just want to see what's in stock or you can't find the label on a particular item. And I can say, hey, they're asking me about dimes today. So I did a quick search of anything with the word dimes that I have in stock. I can see where it is, and I can quickly see the batches that I have available, where they're located in the building. I can see some of the testing results that my team has made available for me, and I can also see what's available. And this available also works in real time. So as items are being added to other carts, as my colleagues are also assisting customers, as e-com orders are also coming in, they are taking that inventory in real time so that the available will be ticking down, and that helps prevent those oversells. So having that available is a really great, really neat feature. It's different from your on-hand amount because physically you might have a lot more items in the building, but they are promised, so to speak, to other orders that just simply haven't been cashed out or delivered or picked up yet. When you look at an order summary down here at the bottom, you can see I can see the order location. If you are a multi-location store, you are going to have the benefit of being able to build an order if needed for another location. So if I had the right permissions, I could actually start a new order, select the location, view what they have in stock, and let a customer know, well, I don't have it about 10 miles up the street. It is in stock at our other location. Would you like me to place you an order? I'll make this order a pickup. I'll switch this to pickup. What time can you be there? I can set that and let them know. Wonderful. They are going to see you today. We're going to set this for 3 p.m. Your order is set. They've got it for you. That inventory is immediately on hold. And thank you so much for visiting us today. So there's some wonderful features like that. Changing order locations to view alternative inventory on behalf of your other sister stores, being able to quickly change order status types from in-store to pickup to delivery, and also knowing that the logic is smart enough to automatically tag them for you as they're placed by the consumer. And then, of course, you have your status updates that are here at the bottom that are going to be moving with this order in real time. On the left, you're going to see all of your quick and simple, easy things such as cashing out a check, which our system is going to allow all the types of payments that's configured by your company here. So that is specific to the particular store. It's going to allow you to do things such as split tender. I'm going to pay $20 in cash, but maybe they're going to do the rest with their can pay. Maybe they want to do some in cash and some with their hyper. So it supports all the various configurations. If I know I'm going to need change, I can sell it how much exactly they're giving me. So of course it might change is going to let me know what's due back to the customer. Okay. And paying for an order is going to be as quick and easy now. It's just hitting submit. It'll send me a nice reminder of that change as my drawer pops open so I can recount that change correctly out to the customer. And as you would expect, that's going to print out on the receipt. You can have this set to auto print receipts for your bud tenders. You can have this set to auto email receipts out to clients. So you can go paper free, or if you have a compliant regulation that wants you to have that paper receipt going out the door, then it supports all of those things too. Lastly, down here on the left, you'll see some of the easy things that are very, very helpful. Pick tickets. That's that ticket that lets you know which register, what order number, and all the items that are in the cart by batch number and by location in the store to allow you to have a vault runner. You can have that pick ticket auto print there at the register, auto print to an assigned counter back in your vault. The choice is certainly yours, whatever works with the best SOP for your particular location. Receipt printing is so nice and easy, and it also allows you to come back to any order at any time and reprint a receipt with permissions, reprint additional pick tickets, deli labels for those are our clients who have items that are being weighed out at the time they're being purchased. It's automatically going to print that deli label for you per item. And for our medical clients who require a per customer label on each item in our medical environment, those are set to auto print for you too, with the configuration that meets the regulations of your state. So hopefully that gives you a nice brief overview of the general features within the Alleaves order status customer service screen and a brief overview of the POS. The last thing on the POS that I could show you is the simplicity of a return. So let's just say that this customer has just decided that that sweet orange skunk was not the item that they meant to purchase, and they were just about out the door when they came back in. I'm simply going to go into their customer profile and go to the order history. I can see here, I can view all orders open or complete. They just have the one, so that's kind of easy for me. I'm going to grab this one order. I can see all of the statuses of this order. So if it wasn't complete or paid, it might be something that's just sitting in the pack status. I could talk to them about the status of their order. But in this case, they just wanted to do a quick return. I can see which items are here. I can load the order. And now you're going to see that the screen is going to update for us in order to bring this into a return. I hit my return button. Here are my available items to return. It's going to give me a choice of areas based on the configuration of my company, right? Of how you would like this to work. I'm going to return this straight back into my main vault. I'm going to let it know that this is an adult return purchase. And now here we go, and you're sort of off to the races from here. I could go ahead and process this out as a return and give them either cash or store credit, since we do support store credit. Or they may say, actually, although I'm returning it, may I just exchange it for another item? And we were last looking at dimes, and maybe that's what they were interested in, and they wanted 5 of those. That's no problem. I can quickly turn a return into an exchange. It's all driven by permissions. I might need my manager to come over and approve this for me. The system would alert me if that were the case. If I went to cash this out and I didn't have permissions, it's going to prompt me for my manager's authorization of this. I can see now this customer has a balance due, so I'm going to quickly just go ahead and cash that out. They're using their CanPay today. You can scan their CanPay for get an approval, and then that will automatically, once approved, update this new order into a complete status. And then I would always be able to come in and view past orders at any time. If you go into the order history, you're going to see now we have 2. And I'm going to be able to see both the return and the repurchase of items here. All right. There are many more features to Alleaves point of sale, but I'm hoping this gives you guys at least a pretty good overview of some of the main highlights of Alleaves, and hopefully we'll get the chance to go in more depth at a later time.